Hi guys, welcome back to the channel Ithako's Bane, bringing you all manner of tabletop gaming. And with another episode of Hobby Table. We are, in this episode, looking at another range of miniatures that you can 3D print. And this is from a company that it's one of many that I've meant to kind of purchase and try, and the problem is there's just too many good miniature producers out there now, and it's very hard to feature all of them, obviously with a limited budget and everything else. But this company, Artisan Guild, is definitely one that I've had my eye on right from the first day that I received my 3D printer, my first 3D printer. But I just never got round to getting some. Now, recently there was a sale on myminifactory, and I bit the bullet and I kind of purchased I think it was one of the goblin sets. And I loved how they turned out. And I thought, well, look, let's give them a try. And what we have here is actually the December 2023 Patreon or Tribes set. Minus one figure. I didn't do the large sort of the large miniature, the beast, the goddess, whatever. I didn't print that because I don't normally print the huge figures because of storage. But what we have here is pretty much everything else in the set. At the top here, we have the Plague Knights. Now, these have been assembled, based, primed, and I've given them a black wash. We'll have a look at these up close in a second. We have, who's this? This is the Fallen Saint Mordentus, like the kind of leader, the big boss of the group. Oh, this is the Rodburg Cultists of Melmora, by the way. I think I forgot to tell you. Now, this guy I did have a few problems printing. Again, we'll have a look close up in a second. Over here, we have Fosco, who is the Herald of Melmora. Melmora is like the plague, not priestess, the plague goddess that they worship. So this is the Herald. We've got a whole bunch of modular hands and weapons here. We've got some cultist bodies there, and we've got a few bases. Now, down the bottom, we actually have 4 cultists with the weapons that I'm going to attach. I'll do that on camera. But we also have here the Pinup. Now, Artisan Guild normally have a Pinup as part of the set. Some people may not approve or be interested in the Pinups because there are naked versions. I didn't do the naked version, obviously, but I think the miniature is still an amazing piece of work. So this is the one which is covered with clothes, don't worry. But the reason that these guys are separate and have had their weapons and everything sorted out is because I'm going to actually use these in an upcoming game. These ones are going to be additional with all the different weapons and stuff. But I'm actually going to be using these 5 here, and I think plus a couple of the knights. Again, you can see I've got a couple of them sort of mounted on some foam core ready to have paint applied. But yeah, these are going to be used in an upcoming game. But what you have here essentially is the set minus Melmora herself, the big beastie in the set. Now, let's take a look at the figures up close, and you can see how amazing they are. Oh, and before we do that, I want to make a little bit of a statement regarding the pre-supports. I found the pre-supports for Artisan Guild in the Goblin set that I purchased earlier and this set. I actually found the pre-supports some of the best that I've seen. They were very easy to remove, left very little marks on the figures once the supports had been removed, and I had a lot of success with them. Initially, I printed these without any additional supports. I just printed the pre-supports. There were issues. It wasn't trouble-free, but I had less trouble than with other manufacturers. With other manufacturers, I have to go in and add supports. I know this. With Artisan Guild, I'd heard good things, so I tried without extra supports first. I just used the pre-supported files. And like I say, in the main, everything was fine. But I did have an issue with some of the bases. Half of the bases fell off the supports near the end. And also, as you're going to see a little bit later, with the hero, Fallen Saint Mordentus, yeah, I had some bigger issues. Again, we'll take a look later, but for the moment, just know that the hand is not supposed to be separate. Right, let us take a closer look at all of these figures. Right, here we have the Plague Knights. Now, I did make 4 of these. They do come in a number of different designs. I think there are 8 different bodies, but with variations on the head kind of thing. And then you've got a whole bunch of different weapons that you can add to them. Now, I printed 4, I have assembled, based, and primed 4, and I've also given them a black wash. I did prime these guys in grey because I was anticipating these guys having a dark sort of finish, a dark paint scheme, and my white primer's kind of running low at the moment. So I did these with a sort of light grey, and then to sort of really sort of enhance the, let me show you, the shadows and the black lining and everything else. So I gave them a black wash, the old black future wash, and they've come out really, really nice. So what I'm probably going to do for these guys off camera, I might record it. I'm probably going to give these a zenithal dry brush. Not sure whether I'm going to go grey first and then white, or maybe just a white dry brush. And then I'll be using the paints to give them their final scheme. Not exactly sure which colours. The sample that Artisan Guild showed when they were releasing this set, I think they had red cloaks. I'm thinking more maybe green, because after all, they are Plague Knights. So this one has a 2-handed sword. They all have these little sort of back banner things. They're not crossbows, I don't think. They're just banners. But the design's really nice. Now, these guys are a little bit big, and as such, they have separate modular weapons to the other cultists, so you can't actually switch the weapons between the Plague Knights and the other cultist figures. The hands are out of scale for the cultists, so if you put this on one of the cultist miniatures, it looks way out of scale. And of course, vice versa, the cultist weapons look way too small for these guys. The second one that I've done has an axe and shield, different style of helm, different style of armor. Again, I really like the designs. I mean, one little pick is I would like a little bit more variety in the weapons. You've got shields, axes. You also have flails, which this guy has. But for these knights, there's no swords. There's no great swords or halberds or anything like that. Yeah, I wish there was a little bit more variety with these guys. Now, I've printed 2 with helms and 2 without helms. Just because, you know, sometimes you want to see the flesh. I mean, these guys as knights, you're not going to see a huge amount of flesh. Got to be honest, but again, I really do like the sculpting. Now, Artisan Guild, as I mentioned earlier, it is a manufacturer or producer that I really did want to get into. They do have nicely designed and detailed figures, but not... Oh, I missed a bit there. I didn't see that. There's a little bit under his sort of armpit there that I didn't get with the undercoat or with the black. Okay, I'll have to fix that. But yeah, I like the design of these. They are detailed to a high level, but not as ultra high as companies like Bestiarum and Archvillain, which can cause problems sometimes when you're supporting and printing. But these are a bit of a more simple, detailed design. They're not simple by any means of the imagination, but they're simple, detailed. Right, up next we have the 2 characters, and these are the Fallen Saint Mordentus and Fosco, the Herald of Melmora. Melmora is like the plague goddess that these guys follow, the cultists follow. So Fosco is the spiritual leader, the fallen Saint Mordentus is the war leader kind of thing. But yes, these are really nice figures. Let's take a look at Fosco first. So he came out really well. I do like the design, especially if you look under his hood. He's got this really sort of Joker smile on his face. Don't know if I can get any closer. There you go. He's got a real nice smile on his face. But yeah, a really nice designed figure. Lots of flowing robes and sort of, what are they called? Not tassels. But yeah, a really nice figure. He has, again, modularity. So you can attach... I do apologise, I cut my finger the other day. But yeah, you can see here, he has, if I can get it attached, there you go. He has one hand which has like an arcane fire to it. That's there. I'll assemble all these and show you the pictures afterwards once they're all fully assembled. And then here he has, bump. Come on. He's got his staff. Now this is a unique staff. I suppose you could print more of them and put them onto the cultists as well. The cultists do have their own staffs, but this is his one. Again, I'm going to try and keep the war wound out of the picture if I can. The Fallen Saint, yeah, this out of the whole set that I printed, this is the only miniature that I had printing problems. The Cultists, the Plague Knights, the Pinup, and Fosco, I didn't have any problems at all with the figures themselves. And I did print the pre-printed files straight. I didn't make any adjustments. But I had some problems with the Fallen Saint. Now, with this file, I did actually add a few supports on his robe or his cape, because I wasn't sure whether it was supported enough. I don't think that's what caused the problem, I've got to be honest. I mean, it did cause a problem in terms of, come on, focus, on the amount of damage onto the bottom. You can see here all the parts where the supports were. Yeah, I need to work on my support points to get them to do less damage, but that was me. However, this figure did have a number of other problems that were not me. First of all, here, I think he's supposed to have some kind of tabard or whatever coming down here. That didn't print. I got a pancake at that point, so I cut the pancake off. I may have to style this so it looks like the bottom of some kind of his abdomen plate or something, so that needs a little bit of work. His hand was separated. The hand was still on the supports, but it was separated during printing. So I got the hand here. And the hand will fit perfectly well on here when I reattach it. But during printing, it actually separated. And as I sort of took the plate off, it was sort of hanging like this, separated from the arm, but still on the supports. So, I just need to glue it back on and fill any gaps. But I don't know why that happened. Another problem, let me get something to point, because it's a little bit hidden, is on the cape, or his cloak, whatever. Again, there was a little bit of separation here. There's just like a split here. I don't know how that happened or why that happened. But again, it was all fully supported and everything, but for some reason it split here. I'm not sure whether it got stuck on the FEP and it got pulled away and separated. But yeah, it's caused a split in this section there. So I'm going to try and fill it and sort of merge it into the cloak itself so it doesn't look too bad. But yeah, so there were a few little issues on the figure of the Fallen Saint, but he still looks amazing. In his other hand, the unmutated hand, he's actually got a sword, which has a nice vine design to it. The vine design here on the sword actually reminds me of some of the old Foundry miniatures. They had this range of vampires, if I remember, where they had like vines and roses around the vampires. Yeah, so this is like I don't know, reminds me of that. But that's how the sword goes, and then you've also got the hand, which I need to reattach at some point. Again, I do apologise for my war wound. If you guys You guys who do miniatures, you know that sometimes we play with scout balls and sometimes they slip and everything. But yeah, these are the two characters of the set, the Rodburg Cultists of Melmora, the Fallen Saint Mordentus, and Fosco. Right, the basic cultists, you get bases, you get their sort of bodies, but the arms have sockets for the hands and the weapons and everything else. So you've got a ball and socket joint for all of these again, so you can be really sort of unique in terms of how they are put together. There are, I think, 12 basic designs of these cultists, but again, once you have the modularity of the weapons and everything, you can have a much more than just 12 individual figures. So I've printed some of these out as sort of extras. I do have a set already sort of sorted, ready for the glue for use in my upcoming game. But yeah, you've got a whole variety of bits and pieces here. You've got shields, which are, I think they're based on wheels, modified wheels. Quite nice. You've got staves or staffs. Again, I need to clean up some of the supports. And again, I do apologise for my war wound. I'm trying to keep it out of camera. But yeah, some of the staffs here are quite nice. You've also got daggers. There's not, I mean, in terms of weapons available, there's not a huge range for this set. You've got daggers, you've got staffs or staves, you've got flails as well. You've got flails as well. There's not a huge amount. I mean, there's no swords. The only swords are on the Fallen Saint and also on the Pinup. I mean, even amongst the Plague Knights, there's no swords. You've also got grimoires. You're going to have these cultists kind of holding books. And the books actually have the details. I'm not sure whether I can get close enough to show you. But the books actually have the details sculpted into the pages. So with a good, with a nice wash, you can actually pick out, not sure whether you can see it. You can actually pick out all the details in the book, the wording, the symbols, the sigils, everything. But yeah, you've got grimoires as well. You've also got, have I got any here? Yep, you've got torches as well. Get off camera. You also got torches as well, so you can have your dungeoneering aspect as well. But yeah, there's a whole range there, and then you've got the cultists themselves. There are male and female designs. Come on, focus. Doesn't want to focus, does he? Come on, there you go. So you got male and female designs. You've got a variety of ones with hoods, one without hoods, one with some of these like Plague Doctor masks. They all have these little, they're not crossbows, they're more like back banners or whatever. Again, really nice. Now on the examples that they showed on the Artisan Guild Patreon and Tribes, they had these guys with red robes and red clothing. I'm probably going to go green, maybe a brown green, because these are supposed to be sort of plague cultists. So I'm thinking green would probably be a, come on, focus, better choice. Sort of greens and earthy browns maybe. Or is that too typecast? Maybe I should do them red. Just feels wrong. Maybe a yellow. Maybe like a dirty yellow would be quite nice for the clothing. Yeah, that might work. Dirty yellow might work. But yeah, these are the basic cultists. Now the bases, I normally put my resin bases on some kind of wooden or plastic base because I'm not entirely convinced that the resin base won't cause problems with my glass cabinet. I'm not sure whether it will stick because it's going to be, you know, over here is very hot. So I always normally put my resin bases onto some kind of other base. In this case, I've used these wooden discs. The bases are, I think, 30 mil. But yeah, the base is actually quite interesting as well. It's just a bit of a problem because half of them came off the supports as I was printing, and they came off right near the end. They were almost fully printed when they actually came off the supports. In the printing vat, it was actually quite easy to see them because they were sticking out. They were sticking out like shark's fins. Yeah, but these are some of the cultists. Now let me show you the cultists that I'm going to be using for the upcoming game as my warband. I've got 4 cultists with the weapons that I've equipped them with in the warband, and I'm also using the pinup. What's the name of the pinup? Blasphemia. But this is the one with clothes. I'm not going to use the naked one. Even though this channel is not for kids, I'm not going to be using the naked figure. But this is the one with clothes. It's an amazing figure. Some people may not like this style of figure where you have, flesh. But in terms of artistic design, it's a very nicely designed figure. So yeah, let's take a look at some of the cultists first. They've all got bases again with wooden bottoms. I've put the wood at the bottom there. But yeah, we've got some of the cultists here. Again, I'm trying not to show my wound on the camera. But yeah, so this would be some of the cultists. I've got a little bit more cleaning up to do before I assemble them. I've just got a new batch of super glue gel come in, so I've been waiting for that. But yeah, so these are the cultists that I'm going to be using now. This one is going to have dual daggers. This hand, yeah. So dagger goes in there. Is it going to focus? It's not going to focus unless I move my hand. I haven't got enough hands. There you go. So she's going to have a dagger in both hands, one there, and the other one, and the other one is going to be there. Sorry, off camera. There you go. So yeah, these are all modular ball joints, so you can also reposition where it is. You're not stuck into sort of, it must be in this position. You can have it at an angle, you can have it this way. It's, you can really customize these to what you want. So this lady cultist was going to have daggers. This guy here, looking at his face, I don't know whether he has some, goblin in him. I do like the goblin set I actually bought from Artisan Guild during the sale. I'm going to have to print off a bunch of those, but I need these for the upcoming game, so that's why I'm doing these first. But yeah, this guy has a real mischievous look on his face. This guy is going to be equipped with a torch, because he's only going to have one weapon, this guy. So he's got a torch. Is he going to focus? There you go. So we've got a torch in one hand, goes in there. And is also going to have a dagger. Again, trying not to show my wound. Yep, there you go. She's also going to have a dagger in the other hand. You can't really see this. I'll show pictures of these guys when they're fully assembled. We've got this lady here. Another lady. Again, you've got male and female designs. So you've got this one as well. I really like this one, actually. I like the positioning of the body on this one in terms of the dynamic pose. So really like that. Now, these were printed on my Creality Halo 1 and Halo 1... What's the other one I've got? Plus, Halo 1 Plus. So some of these figures were printed 2K, some of them were printed 4K. I've got to be honest with you, I can't tell the difference, to be honest. Like, I can print figures on both my printers and put them together, and I wouldn't know which one's printed on which. The Halo or the Halo 1 or the Halo 1 Plus. But I'm sure some of you can, but yeah. So those are the cultists I'm going to be using. And for the leader, I'm going to be using Blasphemia, because it's an awesome figure. So again, warning, this is the pinup. If you're not, if you don't like this style of miniature where there is flesh, it's not naked, it's not nudity, but if you don't like it, look away for a couple of seconds while I show this figure off. But this is the Blasphemia figure. Again, the naughty bits are covered, don't worry. But it is a really nice sculpt. Lots of flowing, dangly sort of ribbons and capes, and she also has the like the vines that the Fallen Saint also had. Really, really nice design. Is that a support I missed up there? Is that a support I missed? I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to clean these again, check these again before I assemble them. I have drilled holes in the feet for the pins, because I'm going to have to pin these to the bases, but. Yeah, so this is Blasphemia. She has a grimoire in one hand. Now, I've got to make sure I get the right hands. I think this is her left hand, I think, like that. So she's got a grimoire. Again, the grimoire has all the bits and pieces actually sculpted into the pages. So you just need to apply a nice little wash, and you'll get all the wording and the symbols and everything in there. So she has grimoire in one hand, and she has bump bump, and she has her sword in the other hand, just a plain sword this time. Get in there. But yeah, so I'll post up some pictures of these once they're fully assembled. Right, here we have some finished figures. They are painted to tabletop standard. They're not going to win any awards, but I'm kind of trying to get them done quickly so I can use them in my Warlord Ascendant games, which I have actually started uploading videos on the channel, but I've been waiting for these guys to be painted until I actually do the battles and starting the campaign. But what we have here at the back, we have 4 Plague Knights, which are currently out of focus. Don't worry, I'll show them all up close in a second. We also have 4 Cultists, and we have the Pinup. I think it's called Blasphemia. But this is the Pinup with clothing. But she's basically going to be the leader of my warband in the new skirmish game by Black Oath Entertainment, Warlord Ascendant. So this is going to be my witness, my leader. These will represent cultists. I'm going to start with 2. If I remember correctly, I think one has a club and one has a dagger. So I'll use the guy with the flail and probably this guy. So these will probably be the 2 that I'm actually starting in the cult itself. But because the grunts or the recruits are actually the easiest ones to add to your warband, I've done a couple of extras. Also, the Plague Knights, I will be starting with 2 in the warband. I think probably the guys without the helmets. Even though the guys in my warband, I think they do actually have helmets, I'll be using the guys without the helmets to begin with. But again, there are a couple of others in case I manage to recruit some more. Actually, thinking about it, I may actually use this guy. Maybe. We'll see. Now, I have been in the hobby and painting miniatures and playing games, RPGs, skirmish, battle. Oh my god, for how many years? 35, 36, almost 40 years, I think. And this is actually the first time that I've tried Zenithal. In terms of Zenithal, highlighting Zenithal, shading and stuff. I've seen people doing it on YouTube and everything, and I don't know, I've never got round to actually doing it because I don't have an airbrush. But with these guys, what I did was I actually gave them a grey primer, a grey undercoat, because my white is running out. And my white primer doesn't always tend to give a very good finish. So I did a grey undercoat for these guys, and then I gave them a black wash using the old method, the old future wash method. That made it sort of really dark and did all the black lining. And then what I did is I gave them a light grey dry brush and then a white dry brush, Zenithal style. And for the metals, I kind of left it as it is. If we take a look at the first of the Plague Knights here, I call him Beaky. This is Beaky. There you go. I love the helmet. I think the helmet's a brilliant design. But basically the metal is just the grey and white Zenithal highlights. That's it. I didn't actually paint anything on the armour itself. I used, what green did I use? Orc Skin from Army Painter Speed Paints for the sort of cloak, sort of green cloaks here. For the trousers, I used Gravelord Grey. For all the leather and the straps, I used hardened leather. And yeah, essentially, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've got to be honest, the most time-consuming part was actually doing the Zenithal dry brushing, because I had to be extremely careful that I didn't break anything. But yeah, the candles on the base came out quite nice. But yeah, that's one of the Plague Knights. I'll show you the other guy with the helm. Now, this guy actually has a shield. I tried something with the shield. I tried going for like a two-tone scheme. Not necessarily a shadow. I didn't really want it to represent a shadow, but more sort of 2 colours. So I used I think I used hardened leather and dark wood on the shield. I tried to get a two-tone effect, not shadows like I say, but I'm not sure whether it worked or not. But yeah, again with this guy, I didn't paint the metal at all. I just left it as the grey and white zenithal dry brush. It doesn't look perfect. In some places it looks too bright. You can see, again, you can see the layer lines from the printing. Let's bring it up. You can see a lot of the layer lines from the printing. I think I did these on my Halo 1, which is only a 2K. But yeah, it still came out nice. I think the green works well. Again, this was Orc Skin Army Painter. And again, since these are Plague Knights and the cult seems to be sort of plague-based, I thought green was the best choice. I was thinking of going for like a dirty yellow, but I ended up going with green. So yeah, this is the second guy. The third Plague Knight is one of the ones without the helmet. So for his skin, I actually used pallid bone over the zenithal, but I still had to highlight a few parts with sort of a flesh tone. The rosary beads, I think I used Fire Giant Orange, and then I just highlighted with a cheap orange craft paint, because I was out of the hobby for a long time, and a lot of my paints went bad. So like my orange, the orange, I think I had an orange from Privateer Press. That was the one I used to use, but it kind of went bad and couldn't be used anymore. Like I say, because I did take a break from the hobby because of real life and work and everything. So yeah, I have to. I've got to make do with what I've got, and what I've got for orange is Delta Karam Coat. It does the job fine. You're not going to win any golden demons with it, but it's fine. Again, the green looks nice. I think for the back standards, I used dark wood. It's a bit too dark, I think. So I don't know. If I had a chance to do it again, I probably wouldn't have gone for the dark wood. But yeah, quite nice. So this guy has a flail, and then the last Plague Knight, he's got an axe. Again, I like the way that the green and the grey actually work together. Really nice. Now, I'm actually very impressed with the zenithal method. I think that's going to be my preferred method of painting from now on. But it does tend to give a slightly darker finish, because I didn't dry brush the white extensively. Again, if you look at the armor, that's basically the extent of the dry brushing that I did. So they kind of come out fairly dark, but I'm just a little bit worried. Some of my earlier printed models were done using a sort of standard resin. These ones I print now. I print using a tough resin, so the things are less likely to break. But I'm a little bit worried about some of my earlier prints. If I go back and sort of zenithal those, that maybe I'll break some pieces off. But yeah, really nice models. I like these. So those are the 4 Plague Knights that I have done. We have 4 Cultists. I did, I think, 2 female and 2 male, I think. So this is the first one. Again, I didn't do any real amount of highlighted. I did a little bit on like the skulls. In some areas of the face, I did some highlighting, but I didn't do an extensive amount. I mean, look, the hair could probably do with a highlight. I'm seeing an ear that I forgot to paint. I didn't notice that when I was painting, but yep, okay, I better do that ear. Is there one the other side? No, okay. But yeah, again, the green looks quite good. And again, I didn't pick out all the details. I didn't paint a lot of highlights. Like I say, I wanted this to be a quick and simple job to get them on the table, and they actually came out quite nice. And quite fast for me. I'm a very slow painter normally, but these came out quite fast. So that's the first of the Cultists. This is the second one. It has like a Plague Doctor mask. I felt that should be leather. Armed with a flail and a torch. Still need to work a little bit, I think, on the flames on the torch. But again, turned out quite nice. Now, some of the models seem to have these like fungal growths coming out of their bodies. I think there's 1 or 2 of the Plague Knights that have little bits, but this sort of, I don't know, I didn't notice it to begin with, but yeah, quite nice. Third Cultist. Now this one has a shield, and again, I just quickly did the shield in hardened leather. I think I should have picked out some more in terms of metal, but I couldn't be bothered. I think it looks nice enough as it is. I like the bases as well, with all these little stone faces on them. So yeah, this is another one. Again, a lot of green on this one. She's got a lot of green. Again, I just did a simple Gravelord grey for the hair. Again, I think it does need another highlight, but it's fine. It'll do. And then the last cultist is the crazy guy. Yeah, again, came out quite nice. And with this sort of zenithal sort of the way that I did it, because I didn't make it that white. I didn't sort of make it too bright. If I'd put like a normal flesh tone on these guys, it may have been too dark. But the pallid bone seems to have worked. But yeah, he's quite like this one. Again, the base, the little faces on the base, I think that's quite quite good. But yeah. So that is all of the cultists, and now for the pinup blasphemer. Now again, this is the pinup figure, so there is flesh, there are buttocks, but she is kind of covering all the naughty bits. I didn't print out the completely naked one, but it is such a nice figure. I really wanted to use it as my leader. So here we go. Now, when I started this one in particular, when I did the green for like the hood and for the clothes, it really looked like some kind of Christmas, some kind of Christmas figure. So I had to work a little bit with the other colours around it to sort of take away some of that Christmas feel. But I think she turned out quite nice. I might need to highlight the book pages a little bit more, but again, I think it's fine. Now I'm going to turn her around. Buttock warning. There you go. Oh, one of the buttocks looks a little bit orange under the light. In real life, it doesn't look that orange. There's a little part on the buttock here which looks a little bit yellowy orange. In real life, I can't see that, but on the camera, it's picking it up. But yeah, it's a nice figure. I decided to do the vine a darker colour, a darker green rather than a lighter green. But I did highlight the thorns with a lighter tone. But yeah, it came out actually quite nice. I think the sword's bent a little bit, but that'll do. So yeah, anyway, these are the figures by Artisan Guild. This is the Cultists, the Rodburg Cultists of Melmora. These are the ones, like I say, I'm painting for my Warlord Ascendant game. I will, if I get the time, get round to painting the rest. I did print out everything except for Melmora herself, the Lady of Change and Pestilence, the big figure in the set. I didn't print that out, but I printed out pretty much everything else. And like I say, if I get a chance, I'll probably paint up the rest. Or if I need them for the warband as the warband grows. But yeah, really, really nice figures. I'm definitely going to do some more Artisan Guild. I think this month, at the time of recording, this month, January, I think is like they look like Dark Elf Assassins. So I'll have to have a look at those. But yeah, Artisan Guild, well worth looking at. The pre-supports, a lot better than a lot of other places that I've tried. But yeah, well worth a look. I hope you enjoyed this, guys. And we will see these in the Warlord Ascendant campaign. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Please take a moment to like and subscribe. Would really appreciate that. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Stay safe. Cheers.